What's going on YouTube? AJTBLS here, coming to you with episode 7 of my Money Match series versus TheNano. We have a fairly good hand here. We should be using the Delinquent and setting Koichi or Sangan along with the space. Let's see what we decide to do in real time. That's a nice hit for us, and he leaves himself with no monsters. We decided to set the Sangan. I guess this is a tricky play, just in case he kept a nobleman. Maybe in real time, we're reading that he left himself with no monsters. He is really protecting certain cards in his hand. He does top deck drop dust shoot. I think blind spacing makes sense here. We get the jar. He dust shoots us, and he sends her to Koichi, and then he jars. Okay, so I think you just attack for 1,000, start getting him, and then set the Faith and set. I think you set the Saku. You can set both. Yeah, this is probably right, just in case that is space. He's dead drawing a little bit here. Flip the Faith, take the Delinquent. We know it's going to be a Chaos monster, and it's not the end of the world, even if he does chain. I like that we're attacking with both, and then after we're going to do the TD. A lot of the times, players will tribute out their Sangan, and I feel like that's a mistake, because the Sangan's going to connect. You know, maybe we could tribute set him here, just because we already guaranteed the 1,000. Cool. We do that, and we take Sook, which is threatening a plus, which threatens MST. So I think this is the correct play, and we also have a nobleman for it, so that's well played by us. This gets Sakuretsu'd. He lets that go. Here, I think you check for Torrent and just attack. We don't bring out the Suki, because we don't want to get 2 for 1, and he sets his Delinquent. We draw Sork, which is beautiful, and I think it's just the same thing. And he does dust shoot us because we drew into 4 here. Kind of annoying. He sends the Sork, so he's really bluffing now that he has Torrential. We have to give him credit for that. We can't summon into it and potentially lose, and then we beat him down on damage in game 1, which is not a common thing to do. ET sets. Our hand is dependent on our next draw, in my opinion, whether it's good or bad. Here, since we have 2 spies, I think setting 1 spy and then setting Saku is fine. We decided to set Faith because we do also have 2 Faiths. He brings out Breaker. He does top deck a Nobleman, which hurts, but I'm more happy now that we set the Faith, because our spies getting Nobleman would suck because it wouldn't be a +1 anymore. We draw our 3rd spy, which is actually the worst draw in our deck, but is what it is. Let's see if we can recover from this. We get life points there. We get full value from it. He Regeki breaks it, throwing away a real card, which is cool. It does cost us 2,600 in life, but 1,000 of it was for free. We draw Call, kind of a bricky draw here, because we don't really have anything good to call back. And then our spy is spying, but it doesn't get another one. He leaves his Sangan in attack, which is a little bit of a misplay. We should be setting our Faith here, yes. And he draws another Nobleman, but he doesn't attack it because he thinks it's the spy. And we get him there. It doesn't really take much, but it does get us our Light and Dark for future, and it gets us an upstart. So we draw a pretty good card here. And we should be upstarting now, see what we can find. We find Snatch Steel, that's good for later. And in this spot, we Wing Blast. We must have had a read on this card. If you rewatch, it is quite easy to deliberate that that's potentially Torrent. Let's see here. So we decided to bring out the Breaker and attack. This is a great play. Finally, a play that I could be proud of. And then now we don't bring out the Sork because we're scared of him having Snatch. It would have just been absolutely backbreaking if we did. And we decide to kill the Sangan, which is probably right. And then he does draw Thunder Dragon, which sucks. We Wing Blast it. What does he decide to do? He decides to bring out his Sork, number 1. We can't really read that he has a second Sork here, and he's also not drawing DD Warrior Lady for turn because of his Thunder Dragon pitch, so we got to keep that in mind here. We draw Storm, which isn't the best draw because we have Call set. But this is just all day snatching the Sork. We decide to banish it. Should be attacking here for 16. I agree with that. And then you can set, why not set the spy? It's, you know, he likely knows that it is spy. He chooses not to bring out his Sork in this spot. possible because he doesn't have protection for it, and we could easily have a Chaos Monster in hand, and then our play is quite simple. It's just attack and pass. Oh, we do set the Saku. I guess, why not? He's being extremely passive. The only reason I was saying not to set the Saku was we have Storm, but we do have to protect our breaker. We don't know his hand in real time. And he's doing the same thing. When he's doing this, I'm reading that he does have a Storm here, and we get what we want him to do. This is a -1, but our Kycoo is just going to be absolutely massive. We go into attack, and we finally get value from this beautiful Call of the Haunted. This should be taking out his Dark and his Serpent because he has Thunder Dragon in hand, and this is just an absolutely back-breaking Kycoo. He must answer this. He does have Mirror Force, of course, and we know Torrential is gone. We can put it face down, and then we can actually Storm here because our call is not connected to the Kycoo anymore, and that's a great game. It is game 1, and we didn't draw any of our bricks, and he decided to set everything, so there's only one Solemn here. So in the previous video, I used Pot, and then I would use Storm. This would work out perfectly, and it would probably just be game. So if we had that exact combination, I'd probably just try it again. This gets met with Torrential, and I think that it's the right play to bring out Breaker here because we have our own Torrential, so we don't really want a T-set with a Torrent. That's kind of pointless. And then we should be taking this 1800. There's just a Dark in there, and we do hit Pot Agreed. That gets met with a Swift Solemn Judgment, and then we decide to set the Koichi because we haven't tested for Nobleman. We do Chain, which I think is right because this is a -1 now, even though we have to pay for it. So it's going to be a neutral trade, and we can control his draw. We know his hand contains a exiled force. We know he's not drawing Kycoo now for turn because he does Thunder Dragon, and he does exiled it. So not the worst spot in the world. We know he has 2 TDs, drawing a mystery card, and we have Spy. I think holding the Charity in this spot is correct. He brings out Breaker and attacks it. It's going to take 100 on that, and we thin our deck a little bit, and we're starting to establish a little bit of a board presence here. We should use the Upstart. Sucks to give him life, but we need cards, and we find exactly what we need. A Thunder Dragon from the top. Now we can use our Graceful that we were patiently waiting for, and did we just find game here? We're a little bit short, but having Faith is a nice spot, because even if we brought this out, banished and tributed, it's just, yeah, it's not enough damage. And then here, I think you just set the... we're going all in, it looks like. I guess we're clocking him here. You know what? This is not that bad of a play, because even if he has Tribe and as his mystery card, we'll have a set Faith here, which takes back Pot, or even Graceful relieving this card in hand. And then now there is... Torrential's gone, so we should be flipping and taking. We do Nobleman. This will take Graceful. Okay, we're digging for a back row removal. I don't think you should be attacking with the Sork. This would be just a huge misplay. He has to Mirror Force here. That's good. And we should be putting the Sork in attack. We have Sakuretsu just in case he draws Ninja Grandmaster. We don't really... And we do put it in attack. I guess that's right. Doesn't really matter. He doesn't have Light and Dark turned on, and there's nothing he can do, so we win game 1. He does shoots us, sends back the tomato. He just set Pot Agreed, which, you know, I really don't understand in this spot. And if our blind MST hit the Solemn, it would just be 100% over. I can't believe he actually did that. He even set Upstart Goblin, so I have no clue what he's deciding to do here. The play doesn't make any sense from my perspective. So he sets Pot. This is just absolutely fancy play syndrome here. It doesn't make any sense. Upstart into Upstart, and what does he decide to do here? Decides to just go the passive route. This will attack the face down, of course. Not going to give him a Sangan. And he does top deck Nobleman, which is a crazy draw, because we needed that for board presence. He still has no answer to this Gorilla. We decide to kill the Sangan. We have to, because Gorilla has to attack. And we don't set anything, so we're not playing into Storm in case he has it. And just the same play, we're good with this right now. We're not under any pressure. He does hit Sork, goes to Banish, and he brings out Dawn. We have nothing in the graveyard, so Dawn's going to connect. We're hoping to not lose our Mirror Force and Real Time. We lose a Sork, and we hit Charity. Charity from the top is always nice. The discards here. We have Call, so I think you could throw away the Zumbira and you could throw away the Saku. Let's see what we do. Yes, exactly. We upstart into Night Assailant. Call takes Zumbira. That kills the Dawn. And we set Night Assailant. And honestly, we could probably even set the Mirror Force. We don't. So this is just like sick live reads that we think he has Storm or Breaker. Gets our Night Assailant. He chooses to set. Here's a great spot to set 1. He does Storm. We keep our Torrential. Might have been better to do it the opposite way in Real Time. We do top deck a really nice card. Gets met with Regeki Break, and now a Breaker has a counter. This is just over. This is the only play. I think you have to leave this in hand, and then these are chainable just in case he has Breaker. So this is like a clear play. And he's going for his infamous Donzalug Syndrome here. I actually think it's the right play too. We're really hoping he hits our Faith. Let's see what he gets. We lose our Night Assailant. I guess it's better than losing our traps. And this is a good draw. Take the plus and then set the Saku. Alright, let's see what he chooses to do. We have to Sakuretsu this. I don't agree with this either. Maybe he's doing that because of just how many warriors are left in his deck. And he sets and passes. So we know he has DD Warrior Lady in hand. We don't have any spells yet. And we set the Serpent. We're trying to bait out something. He does rip a Nobleman. That's decent value. I think if we could just let this go because our tribe is, very subject to death. So we could save our Mirror Force for a better spot. And the tribe already has done its job. We're not under any real threats. And we decide to set Faith here. Trying to bait out something and just get value from a card. We actually do get value from Exiled Force. So cool, that's a summon. And we set Spy. Kind of happy we set the Faith last turn, baiting something out. And there's no reason to Mirror Force this here. We're sitting pretty. This is kind of the spot we want. This is a brutal draw. We do set it. This set here is kind of bluffing that it's like the Koichi or something else. He chooses to attack. This is an interesting spot whether or not we want to Mirror Force. We do. And he Psalms it immediately. So he'll take another 200. And we draw Breaker. Breaker is a phenomenal draw. You can comfortably bring it out. We're thinking. We decide to attack with all of them. So yeah, this is a cool play because if it's not Mirror Force, it's just game. There's no reason for this to be a real trap. It could be, but I mean, again, this is just odds and the amount of stuff it could be. This is game if it connects, and if it is Regeki Break, he's going to be forced to take out the Breaker. He still can't kill all of these spies no matter what. So by doing this, we're forcing a response, and if it's Mirror Force, so what? It's just bad luck on that spot. But this is the aggressive play that I was talking about, and I decided to play a little more aggressive, just realizing how many bricks he has in his deck. And he does dead draw, lucky for us. In previous games, we've seen his tendencies to just set BS. And this would have been game if it was. And again, as long as it wasn't exactly Mirror Force, it wasn't the worst spot in the world. He does draw Sork here, but it is dead in quotations after this because he doesn't have a Dark. Here we should be, yes, this is right. Making sure he does draw back that dead Sork in quotations. And he does attack. Kycoo is an okay draw, but again, we don't really want to make his Sork active, so we don't really do anything with it. He summons Breaker and passes, which is, I think it's a bad play, but it's also quite annoying. And we decide to attack here. So we know he has Sork, and we are giving it to him. We are giving him his Dark. We're representing something that we don't have. This was a big brain play, bluffing that we have Snatch, because he has no answer to it. And if he brings out his Sork and we have Snatch, it's probably just game over. We do draw BLS, and we pitch Fail to Find, playing around Trap Dust Shoot. Furthermore, bluffing that we have something that we don't have, and we draw Sork, which is a phenomenal draw. We decided to bring out the Sork, Cryo Banish, and we could be comfortably attacking with at least the Spy, I think. We try to attack with both. He does Mirror Force it, that's okay, and we could set the Torrential. He uses Pot, gets two quite good cards there. Banishes. We decide to Torrent, reading that this card is exactly Shoot, and maybe he drew some follow-up. I think this one's a little ambitious on my end. I know what we're trying to do, just attack for game, but I don't know if that's going to connect. We decided to hold the BLS for a turn, realizing that likely this won't connect. And this is a cool play. We're trying to hit exactly the Solemn. We do miss. We take the middle card, which is just such a mistake, because if we hit the Solemn, we would just have the game. And we were reading the middle card all game to be shoot. So we went against our read, and we made a big mistake there. And he does dead draw at least. And we do get lucky to draw Sork the very next turn. We have a very good starting hand. We use Graceful Charity, and we get some pretty good draws. This is dead, of course, but we have a really, really great starting hand. And yeah, this is just... I agree with setting that too. No reason not to. I don't want him to see that we have it. He does Delinquent us. We can pick up our Serpent. He does Regeki break our set. That's okay. We have the grand prize of Faith in our hand. We set the ring too. And he does Rip a Nobleman, which is very annoying. So this is a cool spot. You could gamble and hope that he doesn't hit your snatch. But I feel like because of how ahead we are, and we could get value snatching this later. And we also know he has TD in hand. I think you just ring it. The play I was describing is just too optimistic. And of course, if he Solemn Judgment that, we'd be very okay with that trade. Here is just always set the Koichi set space. Yes. Okay. He doesn't attack. Let's see here. So we are short if we are to blind space, flip it, and it's going to be 34-52. It's just not enough damage. We should space, and I think that we should just kill it with Gorilla, keeping the snatch in our hand, and just massive, massive advantage. We did open so busted, right? Attacks and kills it. We draw Upstart. Use the Upstart, and I think we just found game. 23, 43, and the Sangan. Cool. All right, so we just have game. Let's go to game 2. Dust shoots us, sends the Night Assailant, so this should be saying to us, like, hey, there's a reason why he's doing that. He either has Delinquent in hand, or he has no real good way to answer multiple sets, but it's most likely just Delinquent from the way he's been playing. Says near main deck. I think we should just be setting the Spy. We choose not to. This is just in case he has a second Nobleman, and we realize our only win condition is actually the Spy. And he gets us for a full 1800 there, which sucks. We were just really hoping he had another way to answer this. We don't set the space. There's no reason to. And one goes to the graveyard, of course. And this is just kind of looking like a wrap. Although if we did draw a Chaos Monster exactly right now, it's a pretty good spot to be in. We do drop BLS. BLS should be banishing the Ninja Grandmaster, of course, now, because we put it in defense. And we should be setting space. He does draw very, very, very timely Thunder Dragon, but our BLS was very timely as well. If we knew he was going to draw like that, we could have banished the Sangan, and then he would have put this in attack mode. But then we would lose our Spy. I mean, he could always distribute it out and get exiled eventually, so it was just kind of banking on that he wouldn't get that early from the TD. So the TD was just a nightmare draw. That was the one card we were hoping to dodge, and this one is looking to be completely over. We'll need a Chaos Monster, but to which he's already online. We'd have to banish the Steed. We'd have to banish the Sork. We draw a Thunder Dragon here. We can make him dead draw on the Sork. We should be taking the 300 from the Reaper, and now we also know there's actually really bad news for us that he has another Dark on the board because he could distribute it out for TD, and then he's not dead drawing anymore. And then we should just be taking all of this. We draw Tribe, which is a great draw. Got to space out the Solemn. We're reading that as Solemn in live time. He lets that go through, crash into that, and then now he just has game in his turn. He Regeki breaks this card, then bring out the Sork and the Exiled. Let's go to game 3. We have quite a good starting hand here. No Trinity pieces in it, but we have a lot of threats. I feel like a good opening play just to balance our sets would actually be setting the Kycoo. We don't want to set Breaker just because of how many potential like non-chainables he has with Solemn. I think actually setting the Kycoo and setting the Ring is a good play that keeps our Flip Monster and our Night Assailant in hand and also forces him to do maybe Nobleman it. Let's see what he decides to do. He just sets, flip, and just attack. We don't want to give him a 2-for-1 just in case that was torrential. And here I think you could set the spy. Cool. Takes Exiled Force on this one. Takes out our set. And he snatch steals it. We should just let him have it. Alright, so in real time now, I'm thinking more so that this card is definitely not torrential, but perhaps a Solemn Judgment. Or Ring, to which we would find out right away. We decided to take this out, which means we're committed to using our Heavy Storm. We'll just take out the Sangan with the Ring. We do need to get back our Kycoo in this spot, and this is just a ton of damage. And again, I said I'd be playing a little bit more aggressive with kind of the playstyle here, and the power of Kycoo in this matchup is just massive. Into set the Sakuretsu, and we have a really big board, which are problems for his deck. And in here, we should just be, we decided not to attack. This is actually not bad. There's no reason to attack. It's unlikely that they both connect. We should just Sakuretsu. We activate Pot. He says, okay. We upstart, which is the right play to do just in case that he does have Solemn, make him pay more life. And we decide to flip Faith. He pays a ton. No reason to attack the card. He's really protecting the back rows there. And let's see what we do with this Man-Eater Bug here. I feel like we should be taking out that card. Cool. And I think the play is just summoning Tsukiyomi, because if he had Torrential, he would have obviously Torrential there. And again, no reason to attack, keeping with our read that he has Mirror Force. He decides to attack. That goes out. He Regeki breaks our Kycoo, throwing away a real card. We're good with this transaction. He's obviously going to banish it. We have Snatch Steal. See what we decide to do here. Try to snatch. He's going to Solemn it, obviously. And I think in this spot, you just set the Spy. Try to block some damage. He rips Pot of Greed into a Nobleman. And he attacks us. And I think the play is just obviously setting Koichi, trying to get a card. Is what we do. He attacked, and then when he doesn't flip up this monster, we now know that it actually just always is Serpent. And Koichi draws Koichi. We hit a Sork. We decide to bring out Sork here and banish it. He's leaving his Torrential, and we could just set the Koichi. On our turn, we should be flipping to Koichi. We know that that card is Serpent. He decides to Torrential there, and we could just bring out BLS here and try to attack for game. Alright, he has a phenomenal opening hand. He does do Delinquent first because he doesn't have a Dust Shoot. He decides to set a whole bunch of back rows, so we know he at least has one Solemn. We set our Spy because we have another Spy in hand, even if it gets Nobleman, who cares? He tributes out his Sangan, which is guaranteeing him his Light and Dark, but I still don't like the play. I know he's trying to turn on his Regeki Break, but again, for other reasons I described, I don't think that it's right. And then he brings out a Sork to banish. So we're hoping to draw a Tribe. We don't hit one. We just put that face down, bluffing. Even though we have no more, this is the correct play. He doesn't know that we don't have one in our hand, and we set Mirror Force. And he breaks our back row. And he attacks it. And unfortunate for us, he reads that we don't have any more. I don't know if he reads it, but it's just unfortunate we don't have any more. Yeah, this one's just probably over. Have to set the Night Assailant here. He has 2 Solemns down, get 1,000 life, and the play here is I think you have to take out the Sork just because of how much damage we're going to be taking. Our outs are... We also have another Spy just to block, which is probably going to be the play, and he Dust Shoots us. This is just game here. He decides to take out our Spy, and then we try to summon the Solemns. Set Torrential. Both of these connect. He knows that we have Torrential set, and we need a very specific card to get out of this, and he knows exactly all of our cards, so that's over. We have a good hand. Let's see what we can hit. We have no protection, no back row protection. I mean, we need our Koichi as our Dark. I think this is a spot where you could even set the Serpent just to bait out responses. Let's see what we decide to do. Okay, we set the Faith. I guess you could do that. Yeah, I think setting the Faith is fine, because we already have lights, and we can't really afford to lose our Dark. He upstarts, and he's going to Nobleman. So we get to keep our Dark and keep our Koichi. And also, if the Faith just resolves, I think that it's probably just game over. We set the Serpent here, trying to bait out a Rhoda for Exiled Force. Once we do that, we realize he doesn't have that. Rhoda's for DD Warrior Lady. And it's our Serpent. Decides to banish it. We flip, draw from the Koichi. Draw into book. Book's a good draw. I think in this spot we should be setting the book and setting the MST. Yes, cool. He blind spaces, that meets a book, and then he chains ring. So 2 for 1 there. Well, we lose our thing. It's just a forced action. 2 for 2, but we force out a ring there from a Dequachi that already drew, which is good value. We do have light and dark, and we do have heavy storm just in case he does have snatch. We decide to bring it out, and we attack him. Let's see what we decide to do here. Do we set anything? We tribute set. This is a really nice play, reading that he could have snatch, and this also guarantees a light and dark play in the future with a storm. This is a really, really cool play. Just poking for damage is a -1, but turning on our graveyard for future turns. This is Reaper. There's no reason to bring out Tribe here. We can wait till next turn. Let's see what we decide to do. We do bring it out now. I think this is a mistake, but it is going to force his hand. He does draw Graceful Charity. He's thinking, goes the passive route. This will get met with Sakuretsu Armor. And then he snatches and pitches. We're very good with this deal. And now we're reading that he at least has 1 Solemn. I think here the play is pot first. We're playing around Trap Dust Shoot here. He allows it to go through. And now what do? I think you bring out the Sork. Try to bait out that Solemn that we know he has. Okay, we bring out the Sork. What do we do now? His Mirror Force is gone. His Torrential is gone. His Ring is gone. It's just Sakuretsu Armor that we're worried about. And we're not even really worried about it because we have BLS. And we just decided to banish and just go the safe route here. We should be flipping up this Spy. His Mirror and Torrential are gone. He does Solemn it. That brings that to the grave. And that's just absolutely game no matter what. We have an amazing starting hand. He does get our Pot of Greed, which really hurts. We do the correct discards, in my opinion. It's quite essential. Both of these cards resolve. I wish there was a way to... wish we had another settable monster to bluff. We don't. I think in this spot, you actually... I think you set the Faith, because we already have lights in there, and we need darks for later, so let's see what we decide to do. We do set the Faith and do set the ring. Okay. And then I think you do ring this. He lets it go through. Now we should be setting the Spy. We decide not to. We're just fearing that he has Nobleman. He lets this go through and we get to draw, so that's kind of cool. Upstart here, that takes another Spy. Hopefully we don't summon the Tsukiyomi and learn from our previous mistakes. We should just be setting the Spy here, and we do. Cool. What does the Nano decide to do? He decides to do nothing, so more so reading that he has Torrential, and we don't even flip it. That's a nice play. Wow, so we're just beating him down for 14, reading that he has Torrential Tribute, and he actually has Torrent, Mirror Force, and Geki Break, and Solemn, so there was no way that our play was going to go through. Nano now realizes that we're not going to summon, and it's just going to cost him 1,400 if he passes. He could have set the Serpent, but I think maybe he got a little impatient. We decided to bring out the Suki and just attack. He lets it die, not even Mirror Forcing to protect this card. I think that's a mistake. He breaks it, and I think he's going to go for the Reaper. We're coming back from a pretty detrimental turn where he duoed and hit our pot. He sends the Spy. We're trying to bait him to Solemn because we want our Graceful to resolve. We pitch, and then now we Graceful, trying to make him pay more life, because if he does Solemn and he goes to 19, attack him, he'll go to 300. He lets it go. Our discard should be the cards that he knows about. Cool. Attack, and he takes it. Set the Saku and pass. So he finally gets us with that Torrent. Good patience, and we didn't know he had Reaper. we didn't know he had Serpent, so that's why we summoned into it. But he got us good on that one. Here we know his hand is Serpent, so we don't summon the Reaper and go for it. I like that we actually set some Buyer here. It's not really doing much. It is going to cost us in this spot. We wanted to bait out a Nobleman here, which we haven't seen, and it's just kind of unbelievable with all the cards that the Nano usually sets, and he gets us on that spot. And we really can't afford to lose our Spy. We upstarted to another Spy, which just hurts so bad. But it is doing its job. It's blocking. And he draws Tribe and just summons and attacks. And happy for us that he would lose his Kycoo if he does do that play. And now he's trying to move back into battle phase, which I remember we ended up calling a judge on this, because in real time I know now that he has a ring. And he's trying to go back on it. It's like 6 seconds of a pause, and then he tries to go back into BP, which I just don't allow him to do, because this is like now a huge mistake in gameplay error. We set a Reaper here. This was unfortunate. I think we have to set the Spy in this case. We're never going to sack Retsu. The Kycoo, obviously, we're trying to get the Tribe. Brings out BLS. We should try the Torrential here. Solemns. Okay. He doesn't use his ring. Kind of dead drawing in this spot. We're taking everything except the Kycoo, I think. Cool. Only out is... yeah, so he'll just let this happen. Nano's giving us one more draw, and we brick. So we do our TD pitch. I think the play is actually you set the Faith, trying to bait out a Nobleman, and you set the Wing Blast. That's what we do. Nobleman's us, and there's no way we can let this go through. We got to Wing Blast this card, throwing away the Thunder Dragon, and we set the Suki. This is unfortunate because that's going to get met with Breaker. So now we know his hand has Dawn in it at least, but that's all we know. We do Rip Pot Agreed. The play here is I think you bring out the Sork and attack it because we have our own Snatch. We use Nobleman, which is kind of cool because it's literally it's never ever going to get value, and we're taking out a Dark here. So that's probably the best value we're going to get from it. And we set Snatch because we know his Breaker's gone. We're playing around hand limit trap dust shoot. Unfortunate for us, we're losing our Dark. D2 Warrior Ladies banish it, and we just rip a very timely Graceful Charity. We're throwing away our Dark here, guaranteeing our BLS is live. We upstart, and we set Trap Dust Shoot. It connects, which is huge for us. And again, we're okay with all of this because we have Snatch, and we have a BLS that is active. We should probably just set the Mirror Force. We decided to go to the aggressive route, and banish the Sangan. This is a very, very interesting play. I don't know if it's right. I know he's turning on his Sork. I didn't know what he was doing with the Regeki Break at the spot. I was so shocked that he was taking such a big neg. We're so okay with this because we have Snatch Steel. And there's no reason for us to set Mirror Force just in case he top decks Heavy Storm. He brings it out, and he pitches for TD. We now know all of his cards, and we have a set Snatch. Should be snatching, should be attacking, and setting the Knight Assailant. Could even set Mirror Force if we really wanted. Unfortunate top deck from him. I mean, he has to kill his own card, so we're still in a good spot. Considering how busted we drew, he's kind of still in a good position. But again, it is game one, and we have a lot of bricks, but still, this is just always going to get met with Mirror Force, I think. Yes. And we could even attack with the Breaker in this spot. Get some pressure. We know his hand. Gets met with that Exile Force. Draw Solemn and sets it. We should just be setting Wing Blast passing. No reason to do anything. And what does Nano decide to do? Prio draw phase, of course, for us. And we should be actually exercising this. Can't really afford to lose our Gorilla. We use our Wing Blast, which is a smart play. Make him dead draw a card. And this is just game. Power of Wing Blast there. And then leaving the space, of course, in case he has Snatch. Does his Thunder Dragons. And I don't agree with this at all. I never really agree with Summoning Breaker for no value at the opening play. Dust Shoot set sends our Sangan, so this just means that some of his back row is chainable. We just set the Ring, and it gets met with Ring. We're taking 1900, and we're kind of in a weird spot where we need to out a Breaker. We draw space, which is awesome because we can just chain to that effect. And while he's definitely going to be getting us for some damage here, we're hoping that we don't lose our Call. Our Call is pretty powerful in this spot. So he hits 50-50. We get to keep what we want, or one of the cards we want. We get to keep our. We get to keep it. We draw Sork. The play is always to bring out this Sorcerer. We know he has Thunder Dragon in hand, but we can also tribute it after. So this is a cool play. Potential for a cool play. Let's see if I do it. Bring out Sork. Banish the Breaker. Tribute summon attack. And he can always just get it himself. So let's hope I see this. And this also turns on our Call for Sork. So yes, banish. And do we tribute? This is the correct play because he's always just going to banish it. And we're going to lose our light and dark. This also turns on our Call. So this is a cool play. Nano realizes this. Doesn't bring out a Sork. Just goes to attack it. He knows our cards. We do decide to call, taking back the Sork. Unfortunate because he has Sork in his hand. We're going to have a Dekoichi resolve, so we kind of figured we're going to be losing our Sorcerer, but we have outs to it. Flip our Dekoichi to draw, and we just set and pass. He rips Delinquent, which hurts. Doesn't use it, because he knows we have Thunder Dragon in hand. I think that's a big mistake, because if he did, we wouldn't be able to do what we're about to do. Tribute it out. Banish it out. Yeah, he could have had Torrential there, but that was a risk we had to take in that spot. Draws Exiled, has to exile their Sork, and he sets the Delinquent now. Have to play into Torrential. If he has it, he has it. We're just lucky to be in this spot anyways. We set our Night Assailant. Mirror Force is not gone. I think we're good with 16. Hand set the Wing Blast here. We decide to do that. He unfortunately gets Sangan. I think we have to flip our Night Assailant. Takes Reaper. That's very annoying. We now have to upstart even though we were trying to clock him. And just attack with both. Let it connect. And now his Delinquent's going to get value too if he wants it. He does use his Delinquent. There's no reason for us to chain this because we have no answer to Reaper, which is what we assume that he's going to set. So we're trying to kill him in this spot. If this goes through, I think we're actually committed to attack with all of them except the Night Assailant. When he solemns it, we realize that, okay, it's Reaper, but there is more outs in our deck for it face up, being Tribe or Snatch. And we attack it, pass, put it in defense, and he upstarts, gives us 1,000 life, and he's just drawing Solemns. Set our Saku. He rips Graceful. Uses it, and he finds amazing cards. Have to Sakuretsu it, and now he has BLS with the Solemn Protection, so this is going to be a hard one to come back from. We set our Storm, no reason to use it, just as a bluff, and we draw Snatch Steal. So let's see what we decide to do here. I think the play is that you use Storm, heal Solemn, and then you try to Snatch it, and the Nano played this well because he has Regeki Brick. And we're going into a very important game 3. We have no Trinity pieces, but we do have Tribe and Thunder Dragon, so we do have a way to cash in this +1, and we just set the Reaper and pass. I feel like we could have set the Book as well. We decide not to. I think here we should be setting the Faith and setting the Book. We just Storm. That's also okay, and we set the Wing Blast, so it gives us a target at least for our Faith. Nano just decides to openly pass. We flip, cash it in, of course, and we do Tribute out. Seems okay. He just sets the Sangan. We pitch targeting the monster, and no reason to Storm here. He knows we have it, so the card's probably chainable. And then we set the Book. Nano does the same thing. Now we attack the face down. We do have Light and Dark turned on, so there was no way we had game there. Upstart into Graceful Charity. I think we do fire it. No reason to wait. We do hit Serpent from it, so this is all nice. And in this spot here, I think you just attack it. That searches Dawn. Lucky we have a Book set. We bring out Sork, go to banish it, put it in attack mode, and I think we should be setting the Decoy or Spy. We choose the Spy. Takes out our back row. We target our Thunder Dragon here. It's to play around Kycoo. That's why we did it. It's to protect against Kycoo because our Serpent's in the grave. We're kind of okay if this gets Snatch stolen anyways because we have Storm, and he knows we have Storm, so he's thinking. He decides to attack it, and then he's just going to pitch out. Set the Solemn and pass. We drew Suki, pick up our Serp. Now we Storm. His ring is gone, so we wanted to flip this up first to check for Torrential, and if he saw him that he was in a really bad spot. Suki it down, and he does have Light and Dark, but we are keeping our Tribe. And we should be setting the Torrential here, why not? Just in case things go really, really south. You never know what he's going to draw. Maybe Pod into BLS into who knows. Goes Banish, decides to set and set. We draw Snatch, beautiful draw. We go to Snatch it. We do put it face down. This is a good play. Keeping it just in case that was Mirror Force and then putting it in defense. And we're in just such a commanding spot. It's going to be hard to lose this one. Still not giving it to him in this case. It's Mirror Force, so now we're kind of playing with our food, for lack of better words, but we are doing the right play, and we're not in any jeopardy of losing this game because we have Torrential and we have Tribe. Do we play into Torrent? We do play into Torrential top deck, but with Sangan, we also have a special summon of our own, so I think that's fine. And I think you just bring out the BLS and try to kill him here, and we do. But that is the conclusion of this video, and we'll see you in the next one, and thank you.